Hiya, Hinsters. I hope you're all keeping well and have a beverage. Time to talk just a little about the Mars transit, Mars's ingression or entrance into the fixed fire sign, Leo. So, due to my little hiatus, I didn't make any Mars in Cancer video. So, let's actually get up to speed on that transit before we explore a little bit of the Leo transit. Now, as I've been saying for months now, I don't feel that Mars, it's very hot today. It's really, really hot. Mars. I don't feel that Mars has done us that badly since its retrograde in Aries quite a few seasons back. And now we've got Mars sort of ahead of the pack. Even when it was in its fall in Cancer, leading us through this first sort of charge of this metal ox year, and actually giving us a lot of a boost forward, I think. And in Cancer, yes, there was probably some sort of uncomfortable push that Mars made us feel, but I feel that we more or less have been sort of able to overcome the discomfort and to use discomfort as a teacher or catalyst of some sort, even if we were worrying about something, because Cancer does create this energy, creates that worrying sort of thing. We probably still throw ourselves at someone or something to demand some answer or action so that we can like put an end to the worries. Mars and Cancer does sort of force us to fight through the anxiety as well, and not just wallow in it, but still, you know, it's like a hippo or the ox. And I think we were still at some point. By the way, do check your birth chart and see where you have Cancer and what parts, what houses in your chart Mars was actually transiting at the time, because that will inform you a bit more about the themes that Mars was really, really touching on for you specifically. But yeah, it's like a hippo or an ox. And I think we were at some point in some way when Mars was in Cancer, a bit agitated and frustrated, and actually quite concerned for some of us about letting go of territory or losing territory, especially after just having finished the rat year. You know, there's still perhaps a bit of that anxiety. But when we put Mars in cardinal water, that's Cancer, it's our feelings that come first, and that can definitely create some selfishness and some blatant, what we call in my hometown, sharking off from others, or snubbing off other people who we don't feel. We just don't feel like interacting with for whatever reason. It could be like contracts that you just don't feel like fulfilling anymore. You know, it can be very, with Mars anyway, it can be very cutting or just cut offy, almost like a child throwing a tantrum. Sometimes it can be that. Other times it can be a kind of righteous selfishness, like, no, I'm not doing it anymore. That kind of thing. Or just a carelessness as well, a blatant carelessness, like even when something Cancerian, like a reciprocal relationship or something familial, is not honored, there can still be that Martian, well, I don't care type of thing. So snubbing other people could have been a theme for whatever reasons, good, bad, and or ugly. But I also feel that Mars in Cancer made some of us fight for something Cancerian, like family, or even settling roots somehow into something, or as I think I said in a previous video as well, demanding that reciprocity within a relationship. And it doesn't have to be romantic, it could be any type of relationship, but a demand for reciprocity. It's the 69 energy again. In my case, Mars was on my ascendant during its transit through Cancer. And I do remember like slipping in the bathtub and almost dying, lol, and having the shower head fall on my head. And it was quite heavy. So yeah, Mars does dole out cuts and bruises and bashes. And depending on the house or houses it was transiting, the cuts and bruises might have been more metaphorical or metaphysical. For others of us, more physical. But I think in this Oxen year, there's a robustness to us and a sureness that we will survive. It's going away from the rat year, which was more of the worrying about survival. There's more of that settling into, as I was saying in the last video, actually settling into a lane of ours and going down that lane for the rest of this year. But yes, the sureness that we'll survive, we'll be fine, with a little rough and tumble. And Mars in Cancer is kind of like, when you eat something risky and you know that it might give you a stomach ache. I remember when I was a kid, I was at a club for judo actually, and I remember one of the boys, he like dropped some sweets on the floor and picked them back up again and ate them. And his father was like, "Oh, it'll be fine. Your stomach's very strong. You'll be fine. You won't die." That's kind of like Mars and Cancer. You won't die. You'll be fine. When it comes to like family or eating or like things that create a little more discomfort with Mars and Cancer, there's still this sense of, oh, you'll be fine. You'll get over it. You'll get through it. And especially in this year as well. Just keep that soldiering on, right? Or that head down, keep slugging on, right? Slow but sure for a lot of us. It's not going to be the end of the world. So desire as well, though, and the refusal to be destroyed. These two things kind of went hand in hand when Mars was going through Cancer. Now, of course, Cancer is a very inward and dark energy, and we're not yet in Cancer season proper. So a lot of this Martian action quite possibly was even more sedate, even more internalized, pent up for some people, sort of buried, churning for some people. Maybe at the moment there are still things left to be said in some sense. And there's still a grudge or fear or two to be kind of shaken off. Perhaps once all this Gemini mental energy starts to calm down and that cardinal sea washes over us, the cardinal season of Cancer. But yes, Mars made us aware of the uncomfortable emotions. However, also Mars has spent ages, remember, on a sort of mature voyage, right? Through that forest. Do you remember we talked about that in, I think, the Mars in Gemini, or even the Mars in Taurus video that I did. It was a much calmer beginning for Mars, actually, thanks to its long retrograde. And I think because of that, there's been for a lot of us this ability to curb, whichever one you use, curb our anger, and to remain steady, and to recognize the traps that we just don't need to be falling into. And especially with this current retrograde in Mercury retrograde in Gemini even, and Saturn retrograde in Aquarius, these are traps we've already seen, right? So what about Leo then? Well, Mars is going to give us a big punchy taste of the Leo season to come. And Leo season, it's often the season of like solid, scorching energy, whether you're in the northern or the southern hemisphere. It's energetically speaking, spiritually speaking, the scorching, solid season of heat, of drama. And it's going to be, I think, the first time that Mars hits fire since that long retrograde, right, in its domicile sign of Aries. And so I feel we're definitely going to get a lot of pride, as we always do in Leo season. But also we're going to get a lot of powerful strides forward, or we're going to feel even more confident about these movements forward down that lane, right? Down those same directions that hopefully we are getting stuck into now. And so we're going to be fueled more by that pride. Yes, in isolation, with a Mars and Leo transit, we might interpret that as a time when all this drama erupts. And I'm not saying that drama won't happen at all, but I think this astral year in particular, we pay attention now to where the sun is as Mars entered Leo. And this is because the sun rules Leo. And so the sun is like the host of the house or the sign that Mars enters, Leo. And well, we have the sun conjunct that retrograding Mercury in Gemini, and we also have Mercury under the beams of the sun, so very, very close to the sun, right? Within like a 15-degree range. And we even had a Sun Mercury Cazimi not long ago. So when the Mercury and the Sun were at the same degree. And this speaks to me, all of this speaks to me of like a focusing of our hearts on informed actions. There's a lot of sort of enlightenment and realization of things, mentally speaking, strategically speaking, and especially being informed by the past, because this is retrograde energy as well. This is kind of the tone that Mars steps into the sign of Leo with. So I always think that these tones are worth noting because they do, they set the scene for any particular transit. But yeah, I think many of our actions will be bold and competent, or they can be. And that people's actions will be coming more from a good place. It is hoped, coming more from a good place, a heart place. And always, as always with Leo, we get big, roaring, brave heart energy, but still in Gemini season, right? And also those Cancerian feelings and hunches will actually start to be acted on. This is Mars action and expressed, put out there. So the fearful music, fearsome music will now be being faced for some of us. That's always typical of Leonite energy. And with the overarching Oxia energies, yes, this is that forward movement with conviction. And there's a strong, confident sense of how we want to show up in the world. That is no drama. no drama. So I'm thinking now of like Fergie and that song in the Black Eyed Peas, in the Black Eyed Peas, and like her Aries sun energy and all the sort of magic that she injected into that. But anyway, it's about the give and take of things as well. The give and take, as I always talk about. And I was talking also to a client about this recently, about how when we're dealing with people, difficult people in particular, who like to make a scene of you in front of other people, that Leo energy can actually teach us how to utilize a sort of strength card, you know, in the tarot, the strength card, sort of dignity energy. One which kind of shows the other up through not rising up in retaliation, but simply ignoring or even giving grace and compliment to these difficult people. It's a bit like in hospitality as well, like how the customer's always right. They're not always right, but it's the staff's job to mitigate and soften and like turn an angry, upset guest into a satisfied one. It's actually an art, right? Or at least to turn them into someone who suddenly becomes perhaps even embarrassed at how they're behaving. Or just they become assured, reassured, right? Suddenly feeling as well what the sun is all about. The sun being that sort of all eyes on you type of energy, that nothing can hide in the open type of energy or archetype. I also think that if you like this topic of like dealing with people, just to end this little video, you know, I recommend this book by Evie Pomporas. You can see there. This is not a plug or promotion. I just like her. If you like reading, you can get this book, or you can Google her, watch her YouTube interviews. But I've really gotten into her the past few months, actually. She talks a lot about dealing with people. And I think especially in this Gemini season with this retrograde and with Mars going into Leo, she is a really magical person. She has a lot of sort of tricks up her sleeve for us to really take with us on this year-long journey ahead. When we're utilizing this ox energy, when we need to continue plowing down our lane and staying in our lane, she offers a lot of useful magic in terms of dealing with the distractions. And it's just quite fitting, I think, for those of us who want a drama-free Leo season that is still able to fixate and that it can still be full of passion. But first of all, let's get into Cancer season, right? Mars is really kind of wanting to push us ahead, but we do have Cancer season as well. So anyway, I'll stop blabbering on and I'll see you all next time. I love you very much. My details are below in the description if you'd like a reading, and take care as always. Bye-bye.